Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Nick again for part 4 of starting a band. Now, if you watch the first 3, and you should because this one will make a little more sense, but if you do watch the first 3, you'll figure out how, first of all, if you want to get in a band and the reasons why you might want to get in a band. You'll also learn how to find other band members and how to make sure that you guys click right off the bat and find the right members for your band. You also start getting ready to put some songs together, put like song lists together. So now we're going to talk about effective practice and what you should do at rehearsals. In one of the past videos, I was talking about the differences between practice and rehearsal, and there are differences. However, for the all intents and purposes of this, I'm going to just call it band practice, band rehearsal. I still mean the same thing. Practice actually typically what you do at home. So anyways, when you get to rehearsal, practice, whatever, what are you going to do there? Maybe it's your first band, maybe it's your first time with a new band, so you need to figure out what to do there. Quick disclaimer, I was a project manager for a while, so sometimes I overanalyze things like that. But in any case, I have like 3 different phases I consider like a band rehearsal. The first one is kind of like planning. You need to figure out if you're, well, first, what's your goals of practice? So is it a brand new band? Do you have any gigs coming up? If you don't, then you don't have to worry about timing too much. If you just want to get together and just kind of like jam, maybe you guys don't know what you're going to do, but you just have some new friends that you're going to like play songs with. You don't need to like push things too hard to an agenda because you don't really have anything yet. You're just kind of getting used to stuff. And if you want to go and hang out, maybe have a couple beers if you're old enough, order pizza and hang out kind of with your buddies and then jam at the same time, that can be a lot of fun. You can do that. However, if you actually have a goal in mind, for instance, if you say, well, in 2 months, if we get our stuff together, we can start opening for my friend's band, we can start playing at these shows. So we need to kind of like work on it and get our stuff together because we want to start playing and making some money off it. Now, if you have those kinds of goals, and like talked to in the other ones, if you find other people that have the same goals as yours, then you want to be kind of effective about how you practice. You don't want to waste too much time. Maybe you want to practice or rehearse, whatever, for about 3 hours, like I talked about last time, and then maybe you can party after. But if you just get together and your time's kind of important, and you can't afford to like waste time because you want to get all your stuff taken care of, and you want to start gigging maybe in a couple months, you don't want to get to band practice and then have people an hour late. Oh, I'm hungry. Who wants to order a pizza? And then you're taking all this time. You're doing it. People are late. They're taking forever to tune up. They forgot all the songs from last week. So you want to make sure that there's some kind of agenda. The main things is that you all have to be on the same page, and so you can sync, and so you have the same kind of vision of what you all want to do. So that's actually planning things before you go to your band practice. So there's also some stuff prep, like when you first get there. What do you do? Well, depending on where your practice is set up, most likely you're taking some equipment over there. Maybe it's like a weekday night, maybe it's after work or something. So you want to be kind of, at least for quite a while, you want to be kind of minimalist. You don't want to bring too much stuff. You don't want to bring like your 40 pedals and your half stack or full stack and 5 guitars with that. You just don't want to take all that at first. You want to take the very least amount of possible that you can move back and forth just to get it done, especially if you're a guitar player. You can take all your other stuff later. Maybe you're going to leave it at the practice place if you feels like it's safe, if you're okay with it, if you guys are going to hang out together and you're close and you can trust them with your gear, all that kind of thing. That's a whole different topic. But you have to carry the least amount as possible back and forth. That's easy for you to carry. You're not going to be breaking backs, and you don't have to worry about a bunch of stuff getting stolen from your car or something if you have it parked while you're at work or somewhere else. So be kind of small. Be kind of lean for rehearsals and practice, at least at first. And when you get there, you want to be able to like set your stuff up pretty quick. You want to be able to take, especially if you're a guitar player, you want to be able to take your gear out, set it up, get it ready to go, tune up like in 5-10 minutes or something like that, or less. Same thing, you want to be able to break your stuff down, put it back in, and then you can talk after that. You don't want to spend a half hour unpacking and doing this and unrolling chords. That's going to take way too much time. It's going to waste everybody else's time. Similarly, if they're going to do it, you want to be able to get your stuff together and be ready to go, be ready to rock and roll. Now, for me, I'm always looking at time. I'm always making sure we're on track. If I got another hour to go before I got to leave band rehearsal or practice, if we're still kind of behind, we still need to go through 3 or 4 songs. I want to make sure that we kind of like stay on task and keep going through those, if that's the goal for us. If not, then we can sit and have a couple beers and jam. That's fine too. So what I do is I always usually have a watch on, so I keep track of how much time it is. Also, my pedal board, I used to have like a little clip-on, pretty good sized digital clock that I'll keep on there. So whether I'm playing a show or whether I'm in rehearsal, if I look down at the pedal board, I can see exactly what time it is. It's like right between the pedals. So it's a good visual indicator of where you're at during practice. And also, when you're playing a show, like when the hour's coming up, like when we got about another 5 minutes before we have to leave to take our break or something like that. And that works pretty good for practice too. You want to be able to warm up your hands or your arms or your vocals during this prep period before you actually start playing. So there's probably certain things that you like. You're going to want to maybe play some scales, maybe play some chords. If you're a bass player, do whatever kind of routine you want to do to make sure that you warm up. If you've been working all day long, you haven't picked up your guitar in a day or so, you go and practice and you tune up and then you just start playing. You might be a little sloppy at first because you're not really warmed up. Your head's not into it. It's always good to like practice a little bit before, just to warm up before you start playing together. So now you've planned kind of what you're going to do for the evening or for the next couple practices. You've got your schedule. You have you're all tuned up. You've already kind of prepped. So now you're going to play. So now you should have some kind of a list either on somebody's phone. I kind of print them out. I'll have a notebook or something like that. It depends on what songs I'm going to go through that day. I usually have some kind of notes because I already know what I'm going to do. I might either have something marked up on the page that'll say, well, this is, I might remember some of it, but there might be like a turnaround in there. Well, I have to write with this E minor to B minor or something like that. So when I'm looking through it, I can play it, and because I might still be getting used to the song. I've only played it like 5 or 6 times, but for the most part, I kind of know it. As long as I hear what part's coming up, I remember where that is in the song. So you can have whatever notes you want while you're playing. It's good to take notes or something like that. If you the first time you ever go to a song together, it might be kind of rough. It might just work out perfectly smooth. You never know. If it's a little rough, that's fine. That's why you guys are rehearsing it together. Just make some mental notes in your head as to why you think that might be kind of rough. Were you offbeat? Was somebody else offbeat? Were maybe somebody louder? Maybe you couldn't hear yourself. Maybe you could hear somebody else too louder than you would, and it was kind of distracting. Maybe the vocals weren't quite tight. Maybe somebody was forgetting the parts, or you were forgetting the parts. But just make notes in there so that way, as a group, you can all work on it together. You don't really want to critique each other and, get in each other's face and you screw this up, you screw that up. Even if you're really close friends and you've been playing for a long time, it's just better to not do that. It's just because you're working as a team. Or somebody makes a mistake or something like that, laugh it off a little bit. There's more than a couple bands where I've been in where if one of us makes a mistake, we'll all kind of like look at each other and we'll all just kind of like laugh and smile it off. And it's like the fun part of it. It's okay to make a mistake, but you want to, don't get pissed at each other about it. But just just work towards not doing it, of course. But don't be too hard on each other during rehearsal if that happens, and even during a live show to a point. So if we're practicing 3 or 4 different songs for one night of rehearsal, usually go through each one of them 2 or 3 times, depending on what needs to be done. If it's our first time working on it, kind of make notes, and by the end of it, there's usually some kind of homework. Like, okay, that sounded good. I need to come up with a better part for this chorus on this one song because I liked it, but I want to do something else. I was strumming too much. I want to do something a little bit lighter. If you're working with 2 different guitar players, and I'll get more into that's a whole different thing. If you're one of 2 guitar players in a band, because you need to play very, very differently. I'm used to being like the majority of time the only guitar player, and maybe even the only the bass player, singer, drummer, and me. So I'm carrying a good amount of the music and the dynamics myself for that part of it. I'm used to doing that. I'm very comfortable doing that. It took me a while to get used to playing with another guitar player because you have to back off and play less. It's very cool. It makes you a better guitar player when you learn how to coordinate things, but it's just a very, very different thing. So if you're going to be with another guitar player, you need to coordinate parts a lot bit different. Figure out who's going to be doing solos, trade off back and forth. Don't worry about that too much, but you need to play some parts differently. You don't always both want to be strumming the exact same thing, same chords all the time, because it just sounds messy. So that concludes part 4 of starting a band. Let me know your thoughts in there. I have a lot more topics on this coming up. I have some open mics coming up very soon that I'm going to be taking you to. One of them actually was thrown at me in the spur of the moment, so I'll tell you how I get ready for it, how we trade songs back and forth, and how you go prepared for maybe your first open mic, or whether you're going there or playing there, or your first live performance. So stay tuned. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.